Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to change your background in Microsoft Teams. Um, this video will be part one of two. In the second video, I'm going to show you some of the different presenter modes you can use in Microsoft Teams, which is great. So we're in the calendar section of Microsoft Teams, and we're here because we want to make a meeting so we can create a meeting and kind of play in the settings. So press meet now, start a meeting, and then we'll kind of have the option to start our meeting with us as the only guest. So you'll see here I am with my background not changed. So we're going to hop in, press join now, and we'll have our own meeting with just us in it. So now that we're here, I'll quickly talk about my background. So right now I have a green screen as my background. Now green screens are great, but they're not necessary for anything we're doing in Microsoft Teams. Um, the advantage of a green screen is it gives you a uniform color to edit out, right? So it makes it a little easier for your computer to recognize what is you and what is not you. Um, Microsoft Teams works by looking for what it sees as human and kind of editing out everything else. So what's important about this is if you have a poster of someone or if someone were to walk behind your camera while you're changing your background, Microsoft Teams will kind of have them pop in. So it won't edit them out because it will see there's a person on screen and Teams will think, oh, I need to show that person even if they're just walking past, even if it's just a poster in your room. So that is one thing to consider when you're using Microsoft Teams. But it is still great if you're interested in doing more stuff with changing your backgrounds. You want something that's a little more consistent. I recommend using a software like OBS, and I do have a separate video showing you how to change your background in OBS. Um, Now, video editing software is pretty intensive. So when you're changing your background, you're editing your video in real time. This can be a lot of work on your computer. So if you're on Teams and you notice your computer is getting hot, especially a laptop, I recommend not using OBS. But it is a really great option. Let's get into Teams and change our background. So if we go to more actions, we go to apply background effects. You'll scroll down to apply background effects, and you'll see this side panel come up. And you'll notice there's a bunch of preset backgrounds that you can change to. So for example, if we scroll down, we see there is this background classroom you can put. So you can press apply, and there you are. You're now in a kind of cartoonish background with a classroom. Now you'll notice if I put my hand up, there is this kind of aura or outline around me. Now this again is one of the limitations of Teams. It will leave a little bit of an outline around you. My outline is green because my background is green. So you will have a little bit of an outline around you, but it definitely isn't a deal breaker. Now, what if you want to add your own background images? So if you scroll all the way down, you'll see I have a few. For example, I have Maple Leaf Chongqing as a background. So how do you do that? Well, right here on the background settings, you'll notice there is this add new option. Now are some requirements for the images. First, there is a size, a minimum size and a maximum size. Um, this talks about the resolution of the image. I recommend using images that are 1080 or higher. So how to find that is just search whatever you want your background to be. For example, you could type in classroom and then just add the number 1080 afterwards. This just makes sure you have an HD image as your background so it's not blurry. Um, this picture of Chongqing in the background is not HD. So it isn't bad, but it isn't the best, right? And you'll see what I mean if I switch this image of a field. It just looks much crisper, right? This is a very high definition image, right? So it isn't necessary, but it definitely does make a difference. You also need to think about the file types. So Teams only accepts JPEGs, PNGs, JPGs, and BMP files. So what that means is if you go to download an image and you kind of can't find it, it might be because the file type is wrong. So if you download a GIF, GIF file, that won't work. So I'll show you what happens when you try and add an image that it won't allow, and then we'll actually add an image that works. So go to Add New, and say I wanted to add this Christmas market photo. So if I click Open, it'll say couldn't add background, and then it will close out of the background effects section. So if you see that red message come up, that means that it won't be able to be used. So I'll have to go back to more actions, go back to apply background effects, and let's go back to add new, and now we'll add an image that works. Let's do the Bethesda fountain. So click open. Now it will still close out of the apply background effects area, but we didn't get that error message. So if we go to more actions, we go back to apply background effects, and we scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll notice the Bethesda fountain has now been added. So I click apply, and you'll see there is that image. And again, this is a high definition image, so it does look very crisp, very clean. Again, if we go back to that Maple Leaf Chongqing, you'll see comparison wise, there is a noticeable difference. Again, it's not a deal breaker, but I do find it to be a little nicer to have those high definition images. So hopefully this video has shown you how to change your background on Microsoft Teams. It is very simple, and Teams does a great job. In a separate video, I'll show you some of the different presenter modes that Microsoft Teams has. And I'll also show you how to change your background using OBS.